Hello you guys, it's that time of the year again. It's summer, I guess. It's still not summer, but today is like 40 degrees, 104 Fahrenheit for you guys in the US and other countries. It's too hot. Well, so even though it's super hot, doesn't matter, we're gonna do our video, and today we're gonna be talking about paper and what is the best paper for the kind of art you actually do. Okay, so today's video is sponsored by OHUHU since this month is their 6th anniversary. There is a 20% off in all the markers by OHUHU in their website, and they are also running a super nice character design giveaway where you can win up to $500 in OHUHU products. So I'm going to drop down below the two links so you can go if you're interested in the 20% discount or in the giveaway. You can go directly to their page. Okay, so now let's start. How to pick the right paper for your drawings or paintings or your art or whatever. This video is for all kind of artists. I mean artists that are just starting and they don't know what is the right paper for the kind of art they made, or maybe established artists that never paid too much attention to little details about paper, and that will be me. Anyways, this is going to be a very basic and introductory video, but I think that is more than enough to give you a decent idea about what is the right paper for your art. Okay, so first thing, there's a hell lot of different kind of papers and brand of papers, and you already know this, I know, but we gotta start somewhere. Each brand has their particularities. Of course, there are better brands and worse brands, but here we're going to be focusing in the different kinds and types of paper, so at least you know the features you need or want for your paper, and you can decide on the brand later. Now, first things first, in order to select our paper, we need to know previously what kind of media, more or less, we are going to use in our next drawing or painting or whatever. The surface of a paper can make a huge difference on how your art, how your final result is going to be seen and felt and so on. So we are going to be focusing in what aspects are better for the kind of media you work in. But remember, this is the most important part. Once we know all of this we are going to talk about, it's fun if you go ahead and try different things. For example, trying a water-based supply and try to use it in a paper meant for dry media and so on, because a lot of good things can come out of that. You can learn new things, you can achieve a very interesting texture or result, you know the drill. But knowing this first, knowing the risks makes the experiments safer, because you know what to expect. Like I said, for example, a regular paper, you know already that it's not going to support very well wet media, so you are going to experiment with that idea already in mind. So if you end up breaking the paper or doing something like that, you are not going to be having a mental breakdown, because you knew already that that might happen. So that's why it's better to know things ahead. Alright, so let's go into it. First of all, normally all the info you need in order to choose a paper is going to be displayed on the cover of the sketchbook you're gonna buy. For example, cold pressed paper, acid-free, 350 grams, and so on. Now, what the hell that means, we are going to see. Understand this, it's going to help us a lot in the art store. First thing, what is GSM? Okay, that will be grams per square meter. In other words, how much thick is the paper we are buying. Now, what is LB? Is the weight of 500 sheets of paper in its standard base size. The standard of each brand is different, of course. It may vary. So the higher those numbers are, means that the heavier and thicker is going to be your paper, and this usually means higher durability and water absorption. Now, next term we're going to be talking about is tooth. The tooth is basically the texture of the surface of the paper, the rugosity of the paper, the roughness of the paper, you know what I mean. Well, as you have guessed probably already, different mediums work better in different texture papers. Dry media usually works better on a very textured surface, and alcohol markers, for example, usually works better on a shiny paper. For example, shiny paper doesn't have enough tooth for the pigment to stick to it. So a pencil is mostly going to slide through the surface instead of leaving the pigment attached into the paper. You must have like experienced this, I don't know, I'm surely you have. If we do this backwards, like if we paint with alcohol marker in a like very texture surface, the ink will mostly like smudge and the paper will absorb a lot of ink and you will end up wasting more ink of the alcohol marker, and since it will absorb the ink instantly, it will be mostly impossible to blend various colors together like we usually do with alcohol markers. See what I mean, right? Now, I'm sure you have heard a lot about cold press and hot pressed paper. Now, what all of that means? Really easy, we're gonna see. Hot pressed papers are the papers that has the smoothest texture, like my favorites. It tends to make colors more vibrant and retain less water. The more water a paper retains, the better for wet media. It is said that this kind of paper is really good for dry media like pencil, pastels, you know. I really love to use alcohol markers in this kind of paper, even though it's not meant to it, like I said before, but I really love the result. Like I said before, once you know this, you have to do your own experiments. And now, of course, for the contrary, cold pressed paper has normally a lot of texture, a very rough surface, more tooth, like we said. I personally like this kind of paper less, but it's just my opinion. I don't know, I don't really like the texture you end up with. It's like too rough, like I just said. Here the colors will be duller, but this is the right paper, like indicated for wet media such as watercolors, paint, and so on. Now, the last thing, I'm sure you have seen this all around, and at first, like a long time, I was like, what the hell this means, bro? We are talking about the famous acid-free. Well, this is like super easy. Basically, an acid-free paper is going to slow down the decay of the paper and the classic yellowing through the time. So by acid-free, we know basically that the paper had some kind of treatment to neutralize the acid on the paper. This doesn't mean that if you get an acid-free paper, the paper is never going to deteriorate, but the process will be a lot slower in an acid-free option. So yeah, get acid-free ones, why not? Okay, so now we know this, we are going to find different things in the art store, like papers that are already indicating you their purpose, like watercolor paper, mixed media paper, and you know, classic. But all of them are going to have these features we just talked about displayed on the cover. So for example, now if you're going to buy a watercolor paper, now you can see, for example, how much it weighs, and by that you will know if it will hold enough water for you or not, and so on. Okay, so this is all the basic things I wanted to explain about paper. Like I said, it's a very introductory video. It's just for you to be able to understand just those things that normally appear in the cover, and you usually ask me a lot about what paper do I use. So now we are going to see a few sketchbooks, we are going to see the cover, and we're gonna see all of these actually in action. So I'm gonna grab some supplies, I'm gonna grab some sketchbook, and we're going to do this. Okay, I'm gonna go because there are a lot of wasps here. Okay, let's go. Okay, so here I have, since it's OHUHU anniversary, we are going to see all the papers that they have available, almost all of them, and we're going to see all the features we just talked about in their sketchbooks. Okay, so first one we have is watercolor pad. As I said before, you can now find in stores like papers with a purpose. The purpose of this paper is obvious, is watercolor, and my guess is you can use here another kind of wet media like acrylic and so on, like we said. And now here you can see heavyweight, acid-free, and cold press. We just talked about cold press means a really rough texture, and now here we can see the weights that we talked about and the grams per square meter, sorry. So by seeing this, we can guess more or less the weight of the paper and how much water it can retain. I will say that with these aspects, the paper is going to retain a lot of water, so it's going to be better if we use a lot of water while we do wet media. Okay, so we will open this, and as you can see, it has a lot of tooth, like we said, it has a lot of texture, and as you can see, okay, for example, We can take this one. This one is their mixed media, square format is my favorite. Their mixed media paper. Here you can see some of the aspects we talk about. We can see that this has less weight than the watercolor paper, and we're gonna open it. And as you can see, it has a lot of texture. It's very thick, but my guess is hot press paper because the surface is very smooth. I really love this kind of mixed media paper. So this will be super fine for like almost, I mean, every media, but not wet media. Wet media, I think this will not hold it very well. Now, for example, this won't specify if it's hot press or cold press, but we can tell that once we open it. As you can see here on the weight, this is some kind of paper that doesn't retain, like doesn't support a lot of water. So this is going to be meant mostly for dry and maybe alcohol marker paper. So we're gonna open it. And yeah, as you can see, this is hot pressed paper. It's almost like shine paper. It's not shine, but almost there. It has a very beautiful matte finish, and I really love this paper as well. This paper is perfect for alcohol marker and ink because it has almost no tooth, and dry media is going to slide, but wet media is going to stick. I mean, wet media as alcohol markers and ink, not acrylic and watercolor. This not support this. Okay, here we have another mixed media sketchbook from OHUHU. It's very different from this one, first of all because it's spar bound, but here we have more information. It is acid free, and they specify that it is ideal for wet and dry media, acrylic, watercolor, pen and pencil. Okay, so this means this should have a little bit of texture, but not too much. We also can see like the weight. As you can see, it's 200 grams. The watercolor was 300 grams, so this means this is going to retain less water. This is going to support less water than this one. This is safer for wet media. So once we open this, as you can see, this has texture. So this means that you can put here some, I will say more acrylic and wash than watercolor, but it's perfect for really nice texture of alcohol markers and pencils. So super nice paper as well. And the last one I own, this is my current sketchbook. The one I'm currently using, as you can see, is very like trashy. And we're gonna see the info here is acid free, is heavyweight. It said its maximum blendability. This is because it's meant for alcohol markers. And here we can see the weight as well is the very same as the mixed media. And if we open it, you can see this is almost gloss paper, like almost shine paper. But I think it's really good. I haven't tried to put watercolor here, but this supports really well wash and acrylic, and it's really good for alcohol markers. I really like the texture. I'm gonna show you so you can see an example. This is alcohol markers, pencil, and yeah, that's about it. So as you can see, it creates a very beautiful texture with the alcohol markers. And it also holds acrylic. As you can see, this is acrylic. It holds it really well. So yeah, I'm guessing, I mean, I think wet media that needs actually a lot of water is not really good for this kind of paper. It's better the cold press kind of paper with more tooth, like we said. Okay, so that's been it. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. I know I said that I was going to do the video about is art school worth it or not, but this came in between because it's OHUHU anniversary, and that leads me to remind you that you have both links below if you want to go ahead and go for the 20% discount, or if you want to just enter the giveaway or just take a peek around. And that's been it. Next video, yes, next video will be is art school worth it or not, and that's all for now. Okay guys, I'm gonna go because there are wasps and I'm very hot, like bye. No. Why this happens to me? I have insect phobia, and I'm recording outside and there's a fucking wasp. Ah, shit. Okay, they're gone. They're gone. I'm safe.